0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 0. 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 0, 1, 0, 1. It's too hot to keep that on. I don't normally explain what that means, but if you'd written it down, you'd know yourself, because you could go online and do a text to binary conversion. But in context, following up from yesterday's discussion by Derek and possibly the theme of this panel, because I can't remember what it is, I just read out, I am not a machine. So I'm not a machine. Okay. Will I be a machine in the future? This is it. Anyway. Moving on from what I said in the other room is if the world is full of atoms and we're moving around like this and displacing everything, then we're really interacting with everybody all at once, all at the same time. We might not be consciously aware of it, but it can generally be acknowledged that that discovery that's on the inside of our bodies and on the outside of our bodies doesn't stop at the fabric of our skin. And we can display and deploy these technologies that I've been talking about to basically capture and monitor everything. And what everything means is up for debate. You know, at the moment it seems to be bank records, health records, phone records and everything else, but that everything that's up for debate in 10, 20, 30 years will be the stuff that's inside of our bodies. It's already collected by various companies through DNA. And in 2004, I did a full sequence of my DNA and proposed that we IPO, initial public offering on the stock market of everybody's DNA, just basically as a political project to stop everybody else taking ownership of this space. Because I recognized back in 2004 that our DNA is a financial commodity. Where we're at now is people are just taking any form of data and investigating it for financial reasons, because it really doesn't matter what it is. If it's got financial outputs, then it's going to be investigated. But I was alluding to something else a minute ago. What happens when the fabric of the inside of our conscious thought is already mapped as well inside these systems? It could be good, it could be bad, but if we're not acknowledging that and not making artistic, from my perspective, artistic scenarios as to the results, then we're going to end up where we end up, whatever. And I think this is an interesting time because we've got a choice. We can make these choices. We all acknowledge this. But it's how we go around or about setting up some of the questions that will lead us to where we're going to end up, which is what I'm engaged in. I spoke before, so I'm only going to keep this short. I became aware, well, mainly through my daughter, of how disillusioned young people were with politics. So let's start with that one. The idea of individual agency seems to have lost its reason. The students don't go on demonstrations and throw bricks anymore. People seem to have given up, certainly where I live in Brixton in South London. Nobody believes in these structures democratic or otherwise. And you can argue all you want around that, but if people don't want to vote for it, that's where we're at. So the Binary Graffiti Club seems to be about zeros and ones, but it alludes to a few other things. First of all, it's a political movement. I ask young people a series of questions. They're listed down below on page 1. What's the first you would do thing you do if you ran the country? If you met the Prime Minister, what would you do? If you had $300 billion to fund something, what would it do? The $300 billion one is the one that I always refer to, because that's how much it took Kennedy to put a man on the moon. So it goes back to that individual will. I mean, okay, he was president, but it does mean that one person can change the world. And it wasn't that he put a man on the moon that was important. It's all the derivative technologies and stuff that came from that one act. So it's similar now. What happens if we all get together and say something all at the same time? So the Binary Graffiti Club here is basically about, I'll show you a few pictures just while we're talking. I forgot my mouse and left it in the hotel. Wow. We're on Wi-Fi or we're on your LAN network? I'm going to describe the pictures. So in certain places, I get people together and pose them. There was a place in Poland, and I take my choir there, and they were about to sing in Polish in this site, and the statue that was there was removed. It was of a Russian soldier embracing a Polish soldier and holding a baby. It was put there and erected in 1946 to celebrate being the wrong word, the 20 million people between the Russians and the Poles had lost their lives, but was removed from the town centre 1 month before I got there with my Binary Graffiti Club because of the homoerotica, that the suggestion that the two soldiers holding a baby inferred. Anyway, this is my choir having a little bit of a fight on that site. And there's a whole series of different photographs. Mainly, I mean, as you can see, this is a sort of fun project, but it sort of also has a choir. They sing the manifesto in German. Since we're in Germany, it would be 10001. Did this outside the Welsh Parliament. Where this got really interesting is that sometimes I've worked with a professional choir, but in Wales, it was 50 refugees. So I had a 6'7" Somali bloke, and I had various old age pensioners. In Welsh, bearing in mind, I asked the 50 people, hands up, who really does speak Welsh, and only 2 put their hands up. So I said, okay, let's just do this in your own natural language, whatever that is. And one of these is that version, and basically we started really low, took them up in the mix, and it sounds like this great crazy Google translator. Anyway, I'm moving off topic. So the world is full of zeros and ones in my world. So I showed a video in the other room. And I implied that we're now complicit in the agents of surveillance culture, and there's a way to move beyond that by re-entangling our individual engagement. So this is a software app, Velocity, and if you download it onto your phone, it will strip some photographs with your permission, of course, because this is not the other projects. This is this one. With your permission, it takes your geolocation, depending on where you are, and it strips photographs off your phone and puts them into this artwork. So instead of Google taking your data and then pushing it the way they want to push it, what I'm suggesting here is that we all give our data away for free, and we re-entangle this position into some sort of new metaphor. It looks really bad up there, doesn't it? Anyway, what it is this squirming thing with the suggestion that this is where we are. We're in this confused ever-present, because this isn't the future, this isn't the past, this is where we literally are right now, assuming that you're connected to the network, because it's taken your data, it's put it on the database, and it's put it back on the screen. So somewhere on there is me inside of that, and if you downloaded it, you be in it too. So just going to kill that one. I'm just going to have to... Okay, I was working under the STARTS residency with a European grant in Portugal, and they gave me access to the whole of countries' wireless access points. So in a sense, this looks like a data visualization, but what it is, it's a data visualization of all the traffic that's being monitored by our Wi-Fi access points, buses, anyone getting on a bus with a phone is being pulled in real time onto this image behind me. So this idea of the invisible world, not the world that we're standing on, but the stuff that's above it is now up for grabs as this flowing system. It is what it is. And there are three central things happening here, which collecting data and thinking of ways to visualize it, and then displaying these data. So this is just a display. The bit that interests me is the bit in between where you collect it and you somehow shuffle a deck of cards over it. So in order to get to these positions, I had to create my own API with a whole load of data inputs from thousands of data feeds. And if we wanted to get techie, it's running a neural network over the top of all of these data feeds, of which it basically feeds all my other artworks. This is my website. I'm just going to finish on this and click on art. My artworks go back 40 years, and if anyone's interested, that's where it is. Thank you.
Okay. How many people saw the previous presentation in the main room? Oh, a few more of you. There's one thing I just wanted you to explain, or show, if you can, and that's the nemesis, the last thing you showed before, which is the nemesis or the... do you want me to show that? Yeah, do you mind? I have a reason, and I want you to explain it. Those who have seen it, I apologize, but it's sort of interesting. And do you mind?
No, I'm going to do it on my website.
Yeah, that's fine.
To explain this work?
Yeah, do you mind? And perhaps with...
Okay, just backtracking. I developed a wireless sensor network between 2006 and 2010. Heavily funded research project. Small pre-Arduino boards. Each one can talk to the next over wireless networks. This was before the term smart cities was there and before the term Internet of Things was there. So basically, as an artist, I was interested in thinking about the relationship to the whole of the landscape all at once and stepping back from this to see how we're, as I suggested before, complicitly as the body in the data space related to one another. So in order to do that, I needed to develop a technology. The technology evolved into an artwork, evolved into several artworks under the Sense City title, which was then presented in a dozen cities globally, and I needed a frame. This sculptural object is that frame, of which for the last 10 years I've been presenting different questions into it. And it's been presented at 20 different exhibitions globally. Some video explanations are on the website. This was one of the last versions, so you can see how big this is. It's grown into a 60-box, 100-square-meter installation that not only takes smart city information in real time, like temperature, noise, and humidity, it's also using a facial recognition system embedding the audience in the work. You can see yourself, and you can see the city, and the city can see you. And the real city outside in the city is also being hacked back into it, so I'm taking live camera feeds from that. And on top of this Velocity app is also tracking everybody in a festival or in the gallery or on the city and embedding them back in the audience. So it's a multi-layered, stacked system, for want of a better, it is a multi-layered stacked system that is taking the real world, making it virtual and making it real again in this open space. So when you're confronted with this for the first time, you get seduced by the technology. You go, wow, because it's all about the computers and the recycled, the spectacle. And then on the second layer, you might start to ask what it does. So it places you deliberately in this, what I'm calling panoptic space, which oscillates between this tension of utopian perspectives for what the world is or dystopian. I don't think it's one or the other. Most people see this, this huge city, see themselves in it, and they step back. And I just point out, well, we're already complicitly involved in this space because we're carrying this stuff around in our pockets. What happens when we're not carrying this stuff around in our pockets, embedded under our skin, and we don't know who we're talking to? And that is, again, in this entangled mush 20, 30, 40 years time from now, and we don't know whether we really are talking to a man or a machine. So these are images of this, what is smart city, IoT technology, embedded with some other things. This was a crowd of 500 people around it in Berlin. No, in Berlin, wrong city. Dresden, Warsaw, Goodwood Festival of Speed, Utrecht, etc., etc. So this one, who else is an artist in the audience? So oddly enough, this one has funded all my other work because I'm not. Pardon? Yeah, okay. Well, certainly. Okay. But in my particular case, this one has funded all my practice. All of these other artworks, they're on this website, generally. Does anyone have any questions to take this on? Because otherwise I'm just going to repeat myself.
Any questions?
Do you have an underlying philosophy of your art?
Lead me in a slight different...
Like what you're trying to, what your intention is to communicate? Sorry, that was a good question.
Okay, where I'm at now is that the relationship between physics and life, which has come from some ideas by David Bohm, and this suggestion of connectivity. And what I'm trying to do is move away from this complete relationship for technology that seems to be oppressive into a more, and I'm going to use the word spiritual space. So how can technology be spiritual? So the suggestion, if we are ubiquitous with embedded technologies everywhere, and if we can make connections inside and out of us, then the notion of privacy is obsolete, so let's just get over it. So can we use the technology to make us connected in a different way? The entangled software app, although it seems to be about issues of privacy, is more about the idea of connectivity. And can we move to this other space? Maybe if the panoptic is God's if the panoptic space is the all-seeing eye, i.e. God, then the technological space is also the all-seeing eye, maybe God. And maybe the connections that are implicit just need to be explored a different more. So in terms of that philosophy, that's what I'm thinking about at the moment. And that's come from all of this other stuff. Where it's going to lead to and how I get to that, I'm only speculating. I've got some ideas, but yeah.
The influence you said David Bohm?
Yeah. And fame and ideas of entanglement. So there's the physics world, and there's the notion of physics and life. And some of these guys, I mean, specifically with Bohm, I mean, some of these guys acknowledge this, but with Bohm, he started to really pursue it through Buddhist studies. Yeah.
So is your, like that picture with all the light above, is that like the spiritual part?
No, that's come from 2010 to now. So I'm talking about speculating on where this is leading with these other ideas of entanglement and the machine learning algorithm over these systems. The one with the lights on is basically the panoptic aesthetics that I've been talking about, of which, repeating, but Susanna Zuboff says we've walked blindly into this age, and I'm inferring that we haven't. We do things by design. Somebody's planning this out. We're not aware because we don't do enough research. So we need to connect up in different ways. And the Binary Graffiti Club is about re-engaging with that agency in a political way. See, it's all politics. Okay. Two. No, over there.
I was going to ask, maybe you talked about this earlier, I'm not sure, but again, in this same context, what are the implications of advanced capitalism, so capitalized on life itself, on DNA?
The advanced on DNA.
How, when it capitalized on DNA and on life itself, what are the implications of that for your art and the future visitors?
Well, mine was a fairly binary suggestion in 2004, in that let's just grab control of this thing and keep it for ourselves as a public domain space. The stuff inside our bodies belongs to us. And like, that's me, that's you, that's everybody. And, you know, I made audio-visual self-portraits with it, and people thought that was all about self-portraiture, but it wasn't. It was a political statement about money. And I was just saying, if you get arrested by the police and they wanted your DNA, you could legally say no. You have to pay to get it because it's on the DNA database. But, you know, the wife of the guy that runs Google, she set up a DNA project to give, you know, to do the DNA testing. I think it's DNA 123 or something like that. And it floated at something like 30 billion quid, just like that. It was a weekend project. So it's gone. It's given away, you know. It's the same with the notions of junk DNA. When I investigated this, some professor in New Zealand in the 70s started putting patents out on what they were terming junk at that stage, which was not, it's not the stuff we share, it's the stuff, and they were the 95% of it. Anyway, everyone has to pay him a royalty. It's just nonsense. There's my thoughts on this. There's the state umbrella, there's the corporate umbrella, there's the entangled umbrella of reclaiming social space, and we're looking for a fourth option as well, and maybe a fifth. You know, it was suggested yesterday about change, you know, that things are hard to change, and, you know, future studies, you know, refers to, I think there was a word that infers that you move slightly into the past and you project forward into the future. And I kept thinking of, you know, all the statues that have been disappearing around the world recently. You know, George Washington because of this, and ex-Colston in Brixton. So they're disappearing. But that's completely erasing history. That doesn't seem to me a good idea. I think we have to acknowledge what's gone on and put another sign there saying this guy did this, and keep the statues there as a way to remember, or completely abandon the past and jump ship, literally, you know. But we don't really like that. We don't like it when people leave Syria and migrate. We don't, you know, we don't, it's just, you know, it's just not our way at the moment. So, yeah, sorry, I'm waffling. Next question.
I have one question. There was one sentence that I stumbled across in your presentation, which was that all of this is not about the future, it's about the present.
Yeah.
It's already here.
Yeah.
And I wonder that you being here on a conference of future studies, how do you see future related to your work, or how do you see the work related to the future, or maybe how
It's like this. It's like a metronome.
Yeah.
I might suggest that it's in the present, but it's always in a micro level in the future. So just keep going smaller and smaller and smaller into the atomized, and we're always in the future. I don't believe the present exists. So my statement is sort of wrong.
I was more interested in the way that you reflect you as an artist doing your work, reflect on futures. What role does this play in your work?
I think we'd have to have a discussion on what you mean by, you'd have to talk to me about what futures are, because I've only been to a few of your lectures, and you've all got a different definition, because you're all trying to claim the space. You know, you're all trying to claim the space as something, you know, novel and innovative. There's always been, you know, a notion of future. Yeah. But I'd have to reflect on it a little bit more. I think okay, a successful artwork for me is one that gives me another question. And I've listened to other scientists that are talking about scientific discoveries, and they've all said the same thing. A successful piece of science research isn't one that's finished, it's one that presents itself with the next question. And through all of this practice that I've done, I keep evolving into new questions. They're my questions, and that's where I'm going, you know. I know the arrow, you know, what the steps are.